BA's down just over 1% today. And I'm wondering, is it because the FAA is talking about certifying every 737 MAX individually as they leave the lot? Or is it because of these pictures that we've had out from the Seattle Times of what happened to the 777X fuselage once it came off the rig and they stress tested it? Because that's a pretty dramatic picture as well.
So I would argue that those things go hand in hand. So certainly the FAA report that they are going to be evaluating these planes one by one before they can be delivered raises significant questions about whether or not Boeing can meet its goal of delivering these planes by the end of the year, even if the FAA has not yet signed off on pilot training commitments. Now, when that was announced, that raised a lot of questions for me as to why the FAA would actually allow them to do that. Now we're getting reports that the FAA was not quite thrilled with that announcement by Boeing, and this could be some of the ramifications of that. Now, in conjunction with that, the fact that the FAA is taking back some of this control over work that was previously delegated to Boeing employees signals a pretty significant shift in the way that these planes are going to be regulated. And you could see that also impacting the 777X, which has already been delayed by issues with the GE jet engine and then a series of other issues like the one you bring up now. You throw on top of that regulators taking a closer look at literally every inch of this airplane. You could see that push further out. And that, of course, affects Boeing's recovery and its free cash flow generation, as that will continue to eat into cash while they develop that.
One thing that I thought that was interesting about the reporting that we had on this, I think it was Alan Levin, Julie Johnson wrote the main story here, is that there still seems to be a lot of tension between Boeing and the FAA. And it seemed that this whole crisis of confidence, it wasn't just about the incidents themselves, but about the relationship with the regulators and whether they were all on the same page. Well, I mean, what's going on? Does Muhlenberg sort of have this under control?
I mean, I think that's a very fair question to ask, and I scratch my head every time you see something like this happen as to what Boeing could possibly be thinking in their communication strategy, because you sort of pin the FAA against the wall here with that announcement of we hope to start delivering planes by the end of the year. Airlines, of course, would like to see these planes come back because they're taking hits on their profit the longer that these are grounded. And so I think, you know, the FAA, on the other hand, feels the spotlight on itself, and they feel a need to step up here and tell the American public, tell their own employees that, look, we're not going to be swayed by Boeing's timeline and what Boeing wants to happen. We're going to make sure that these planes are absolutely as safe as possible before we let people start flying on them.
But to follow up on that, Brooke, how on earth is Boeing, how on earth is Boeing's communication team putting these notes out saying, you know what, we think we're going to still get this done by the end of the year, that we're going to get certification and then we're going to talk about training after that, but we think we're going to start delivering at the beginning of next year. How on earth are they miscommunicating so badly with the market and then seeing the FAA come in time and time again and pour cold water on it?
Well, it really has been time and time again, because remember when these planes were first grounded in March, Boeing was talking about putting them back up in the air in a matter of weeks, maybe just a couple of months. And then obviously the longer and longer that this stretches on, the more times they've had to revise their forecast. So it's a very legitimate question to say, has Boeing management handled this properly? Obviously, Dennis Muhlenberg has gotten a lot of scrutiny. He took a lot of heat in those congressional hearings with numerous lawmakers calling on him to resign. He did, of course, give up his chairman post, and the Boeing board has said it has confidence in him for now and that it thinks that he's the best one to see this through. But at that point, when you do start to see these planes finally being delivered, is he the man for Boeing longer term? I think that's a fair question.